Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Rob Booker, best-selling author of Adventures of a Currency Trader and Trading by Faith. And today, here's another episode of What's in My Fridge. Thanks, by the way, for subscribing to the YouTube channel and hitting that bell to be notified every time I go live. I love the crud out of you. So let's take a look at what's in my fridge. Of course, as you know, I really enjoy having these Soylent drinks, which have, I just found this out yesterday, mono unsaturated fat. 16 grams of it, in fact. I think that's why I'm so full after I drink it, because it sits in my stomach and coagulates. I'm not exactly sure. This show isn't sponsored by Soylent, but it should be. I never thought I'd like a strawberry drink. Really, this is not a sponsored video. I never thought I would like this, but I can't stop drinking this, and I think it may harm me in some way, but no, I'm just drinking it like, I don't know, 7 or 8 times a day. Probably no big deal at all. Welcome, everybody. In today's video, let's get the camera up here on the giant whiteboard, and we'll get this party started. It's not really a party, but boy, I love to see you every day. Thanks for being here, by the way. There we go. We're going to talk about trading rules. Like, what if I wanted to, and I think I probably need to delete the what's in my fridge from the screen. There we go. All right, so what goes into a trading system, and what are the elements of a system? What are the elements of a great system? I was listening to a podcast with Jocko. Remember that Navy SEAL guy that's on like every single podcast in the world, and he looks like he could just rip off your head and eat it for breakfast? That guy is... He gets up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, which is way before breakfast, and lifts weights and eliminates entire populations of alien species by 11 a.m. every day. I don't know really what's all up to. But I was listening to a podcast interview between him and James Altucher, and he talked about the fact that in order to learn how to break the rules, you got to learn what the rules are. And in order to in the moment, be flexible and adaptable. And my Marine friend Chuck will know, adapt, improvise, and overcome, right? That's a Marine tactic. You first got to know what the rules are, the rules of engagement first, and then you can improvise in the moment if conditions change. Now, think about your own life. Think about your relationships, your job, your trading, or whatever else it is. And think of all the times in your life when you were ready for one thing and the rules would have applied to that one thing. But then everything got just, thised up, and everything seemed to go wrong, and it required improvisation, and you found yourself unready for that situation. Well, I certainly have found myself in that situation before. And in fact, later on today at 6 p.m. Central Time, I have a video that's going live on the channel. So there'll be 2 uploads today, this live video, and then on YouTube, I'm going to upload another one about a situation in which I had to improvise when things went wrong. So the first thing that you need are actual rules of a trading system. And then once you learn and master those rules, then you can improvise. And of course, a trading system really just comes down to entry, management, and then exit. And I want to talk about the entry today, and maybe we can do another video about management and exit, but I want to focus on what if we were building a trading system from scratch and we wanted to focus first on the entry. What would we do? So we're going to walk over to the charts in just a moment, and we're going to do that. Once again, I just want to say hello. I'm glad to see you here. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Some of you said, I don't really know how to subscribe to the channel. On my YouTube page, there's a subscribe button. I'm getting very excited, so I get ahead of myself. There's a subscribe button, and then there's a bell. You hit the subscribe button, and then you hit the bell, and then magical things begin to happen, such as a llamacorn, which is a unicorn mixed with a llama, will suddenly appear. I don't know, it won't really. Let's talk about the entry. Let's talk about rules for entry. I was also listening to a podcast with Tony Robbins, and he said something really interesting about hiring people, and I think this applies to trading. He said, slow to hire, but quick fire. And what he meant by that was he takes his time, over 40 years of running his company, he takes his time now with new hires, slowly vetting them and making sure that they are a good fit. Probably meeting with a bunch of people, probably going through a lot of interviews, probably walking on top of a bunch of hot coals, you know, stuff like that. Lots of Tony Robbins stuff. Probably like pinching themselves and probably jumping on a couch up and down. I don't know what kind of things you got to do to get a job there. I certainly wouldn't get a job there. I'd be thrown out before I even entered the door. But then he said, quick to fire. And I thought, well, that's a really interesting perspective. That's a really interesting way to think about it. Slow to hire, but quick to fire, meaning take one's time with the entry, but then be really quick to cut things off that aren't working. And this is really, that really applies to management, right? So if we were going to apply this to trading, we'd be slow to take the trade, but then we'd be quick to cut it off. And he said he's willing to do one thing before he fires people in his company, and that is walk on hot coals. No, just kidding. I've never done that, and I wouldn't do it. I did go to a meditation retreat one time, like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was at this meditation retreat in Boulder, Colorado, and I was sitting there on the floor meditating for hours. And this super giant guru dude comes into the room and sits at the front of the room, and sort of everybody just immediately started worshiping this dude. And I just walked out. I was like, I can't handle this. I can't handle that. I can't handle any kind of weirdo guru worship. And I realized I can't really ever get that connected to a process or to a set of rules or to a guru. And that's the same for a trade that we hire. You can't get so connected to it that you would be enslaved to it, or you have to still be a free thinker, right? You still have to be able to question what you've done. And so what Tony Robbins said was, after they hire people, if they're struggling, they give them some coaching, but he doesn't let a new hire become a client, like someone who needs his performance coaching. They've got to come ready to do their job. And maybe with a little bit of coaching, they can get a cultural fit and get into the swing of things, walking on those hot coals. I don't know why I'm making fun of that. It just seems weird to get a bunch of people in a room and then walk on top of fire. That just seems odd. But if Tony, you're watching, which I'm pretty sure if you want to learn how to trade, you'd probably be watching my channel, then I'd love to come to one of your events and do that. And then we can make a little video. All right. Give them a little bit of coaching, but then if they still don't work out, then they're out the door. And I thought that was so awesome. And this, because it applies to us, because maybe we're slow to hire, we'll be slow to consider taking the entry in the first place. And if it starts to kind of go wrong, maybe we'll give it a little bit of management and coaching, but then if it doesn't work out after that, then we fire it. You're fired. Okay, I'm super excited about this topic. I'm just super grateful that you're watching. Thank you for being here, and thank you everyone for subscribing. What a joy this has been to do some videos with you. I'm uploading every day, as you know, at 9 a.m. We're going to switch the camera around, and we're going to take a look at my desk and my desktop, and we're going to build some trade stuff together. So I'm going to turn the light around so you can actually see me, shed some light on the subject. Grab the little Sling Studio Mumbo Jumbo Bananarama, ba-da-ba-dum-boom, and then we're going to zoom in here. Wait a minute, where am I? Where did Rob go? Where's Rob? Ba-dum-ba-dum-bum-bum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, walking on the hot coals. I'm walking on hot coals. Bum-dum-bum-bum-ba-dum. It's time to play the music. Okay, so let's take a look at the charts here and build something. Let's build something together. Let's build something beautiful together. Boy, I am in a great mood today. Before we start this, don't forget, I give a shout out to my wife because she's the greatest ever. If you go to nikkibooker.com, even if you're not currently Looking for love in all the wrong places. Even if you're not, you just go to nikkibooker.com. I know you can't even see this because my internet is incredibly slow or whatever. You could see her podcast. I don't know why that's not loading, but maybe we'll take a look at it later. Okay, let's build a system. Here's a chart, and I'd like to talk about maybe building a system of entries. All right, we're going to do something real simple. We're going to give this a shot, and I'm going to see if we can build this into something that might be a successful way to look at the market. All right, preview this, and her website never popped up. I don't know why that is. That's very odd, isn't it? I hope everything's working okay. I wonder, the what's in my fridge is still up on the screen. That's pretty funny. Let's check out the chat thing, you know, because maybe everything's broken. Maybe everything is just not working, or maybe it is working. All right, well, let's see. Should be going fine. All right. I can't see any messages, but hopefully you're there. And man, if you're not, what a bummer, because today's broadcast is super exciting and magnificent. All right, so let's look at this. We'll pull up the Bollinger Bands here. So I pulled up Bollinger Bands, and I set the Bollinger Bands to 20-2. So 20 periods back, 2 standard deviations. And then what I did was I put the Bollinger Band's width below the chart. Now, what if I were to, every single time the Bollinger Band width goes below a level, and let's say that level is 70, which is really 0.0070. Let's say that every single time the Bollinger Bands go below that level, let's say that we're going to trade back and forth inside the bands. So we're going to sell when it goes near the top of the bands, and we're going to buy it when it goes near the bottom. Sell it, buy it again, sell it again. Well, that seems reasonable to me because the Bollinger Band width is contracting. We've got a smaller and smaller space. I like this. I think this could be the beginning of a system. So I bet you're wondering, what's in my fridge? I can't seem to get those words off of the screen. But I think that's pretty funny. All right, let's go back to the Bollinger Bands. I'm grateful that you're all here. It's nice to see you. All right, so all right, we'll take a look at the system, and then I've got some words for those of you affected by recent hurricanes and whatnot. So some great ideas have been coming in lately about that. All right, so we have Bollinger Bands on the screen. We have Bollinger Band width, BBW, Buffalo Wings on the screen. So let's go back in time, and let's see if we could create or start the process of creating a system out of this. So if the Bollinger Band width decreases, we would buy at the bottom of the bands, and we would sell it at the top of the bands. Now you can see here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so slow to get in maybe, but you know, wait for it to hit these upper bands right here, the upper band. But then this price goes out of control. So what could we do that would be, how could we be quick to fire this trade, in other words? We could be quick to fire this trade if it moves maybe above a resistance level. So we'll stop out if it moves above a resistance level. Or we could say we'll sell one more, we'll give it some more coaching if the Bollinger Band width gets out of control on the upper side. That might be a really nice way to do it, actually. So if the Bollinger Band width gets out of control, maybe we'd be willing to sell it again and then watch it come back down. Maybe, you know, that's a way of coaching or managing a position that doesn't seem to work. Or maybe we just drop it. There's a Bollinger Band width that gets really narrow. So all within this area, maybe we would buy on the bottom, sell on the top, buy on the bottom, sell on the top, and then it just starts running. Maybe we'd be better off if we just closed everything out if it broke a level of resistance right here. Yeah, you know, that might not be a bad way to do it. Just exit it out. So those are some rules. All right, so I gotta get rid of this what's in my fridge. Hold on, there we go. So that could be the beginning of a system. That could be an entry. Some things I would think about doing to accompany this is I might require, let's say that on the 60-minute chart, which we were looking at, I might require the Bollinger Band width to get really narrow. And then maybe I drop down to a 15-minute chart and I look for price action. I look for a price action pattern. Or I look for, on a 15-minute chart, some bearish divergence. Maybe I look for those things on the shorter term chart to maybe be slower to hire a position to come inside of my portfolio. That seems like a totally reasonable thing to do. All right, so those are the beginnings of maybe a trading system. You got to have an entry. You got to think about how you're going to filter times when you accept a trade and when you're going to say, yeah, now it's on. I'm willing to trade. I'm totally game for that. And then you have to find out when you're not willing to. So we know when we are and when we're not. I don't know why her website's not pulling up. That's really sad because I really do enjoy my wife's website. All right, let's go back over to the big screen. And I want to talk a little bit about maybe something we can do to donate to victims of the hurricane that happened recently and hit Florida and the Panhandle. So maybe there are some ideas that you have that you can post in the comments. It's a little bit harder to post ideas in the comments on YouTube because the comments you post live, I'm not going to see those later. So you need to post them after the video's up for a while and whatnot. Let me grab my pen. I always take it over to my desk and then leave it over there. Wow, her website's still, I'm still checking, of course. Whatever, internet's being weird. All right, so what could we do? By the way, there's another winner on the contest for the iPad, and I'll announce that in the comments as well later on today. All right, let's pull this in. Okay, so hurricane relief. I need some ideas on charities. I don't really know what the best one is. So if you could all recommend a charity for hurricane relief, I have some ideas that I want to share with you about sort of, well, so it's a longer conversation, but I think it's going to be a really interesting one. So don't put a comment in the live video here on YouTube. If you're on Facebook at Rob Booker Trader, put a comment there below and tell me what charity you might consider donating to for hurricane relief. And then what I want to talk about is important. Whoops. Catalytic mechanism. Jim Collins. I want to show you an article that Jim Collins wrote. He's the author of Good to Great, which is one of my favorite books ever. Oh my goodness, I'm writing J's instead of H's instead of J's. Jim Collins. Okay, Jim Collins wrote this article a really long time ago, and it's absolutely fantastic. And the name of the article is Turning Goals into Results, the Power of Catalytic Mechanisms. And the idea behind this article in the Harvard Business Review was that you can set your goals up in a way that you're more likely to achieve them. So when a company said to its customers, we'll send you an invoice and you just pay what you thought it was worth, everyone inside the company worked harder to give their clients a better experience because of this catalytic mechanism. And so I thought, what about improving my results as a short-term trader that I've been doing live through a catalytic mechanism. So first of all, I recommend that you look this up and read this article. It's absolutely fantastic. I'll link to this article in the description of the YouTube video after it's all over. And so what I thought was, we could pick a charity for hurricane relief, and then I would donate, let's just for the entire month of October into the middle of November, I would donate 50% of whatever profits I make in that short-term trading account to charity relief for the hurricane effort. Now, you could join along with me in that. We could pick one together, and the money won't flow through me, of course. I don't want anything to do with that. You just do it on your own, and it's just on the honor system. But what I think that might do is every time I'm taking a trade, I might think ahead and say, what happens if this trade goes wrong? I'd be taking money away from this charity and hurricane relief. Thought that might be a really nice way to think about things. I've got a bunch more ideas on this subject that I want to talk about later, but we can keep it at this for now. So not in the YouTube, the live comments in YouTube, they don't show up later for me. It has to be a comment on the Facebook page, or you can @ me on Twitter and you can give me some ideas. So Rob Booker on Twitter. And Rob Booker Trader on Facebook, and you can say, here's some charities that I'm considering. And what I'll do is we'll track this live as we go, and then on a weekly basis, I'll just send 50% of my gains to that charity, and I'll invite you to do it along with me, and maybe we can improve some lives, and maybe that would stop us when we're doing something wrong or making a bad decision with respect to our trading. Maybe that could be a catalytic mechanism that would just sort of work automatically to improve our results. Last of all, just a shout out to all of you that are subscribed on YouTube. I know I keep hammering away at this, and you know, I'm going to provide content, and then I'm just going to endlessly ask you to subscribe to the channel, and as long as I'm doing a good job for you, that's all I really want. Last of all, it's the message I always give you. I love you. I know it sounds weird, and I know I'm not probably the guy you would expect to hear that from, but if you're struggling in your life, if you're struggling in your trading, if you're struggling to accomplish your goals, I want you to know I care about how you're doing. I want you to know that I care about your success. That's why I'm here. I just love the heck out of you. So somewhere on this page here, there should be a video you can watch next, and there should be a link to subscribe to the channel. So I hope you'll do that. I hope you'll take a look at all the other videos I've got for you right here. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.